What's up, everybody? I'm Kyle Carlson, and this is the Rollback BMX Podcast, the #1 BMX podcast in the universe, according to me. Today's guest is Leigh Ramsdell. Leigh is a BMX lifer who has pretty much done everything there is to do in the sport. Leigh has been a pro rider, a TV host, even a plumber, and he's currently the man behind the resurgence going on at Mongoose. Leigh has a wealth of knowledge, an undying love for BMX, and a terrible gluten allergy. Listen up, hear what he has to say. This is the Rollback BMX Podcast with Leigh Ramsdell. Leigh Ramsdell, you are drinking a cider right now. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm fantastic. In full disclosure, I normally try to take some notes before these, and I didn't take any.
So this one's going to be really bad.
It's going to be so bad.
Oh, perfect.
So I guess the first thing I wanted to talk to you about was everything you do at Mongoose. Because I guess what I'm getting at here is when I was growing up, Mongoose was not a cool brand. And it wasn't cool if you had a Mongoose. And
When was this? You got to give the kids.
This was in 1881.
Yeah, those horse and buggies.
Let's say late 90s, maybe early 2000s.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where I was also, you're the cool kid. You want the high-end bikes. You frown on anything department store based. But fast forward to today, and they still have the department store bikes and whatnot. But what you and Steve Wilcox as well, who many people probably aren't familiar with, but would you say he's your boss, has been your boss?
Yeah, he's my boss.
What you guys have been able to do is really kind of feed the core with it. Now Mongoose is probably doing more than any other brand in BMX right now as far as doing cool stuff goes.
Well, that's the cool thing about I was actually, when first given the opportunity to go on Mongoose, I was a little nervous myself, thinking, go into the corporate world. But they have people behind there that get it, or they want to get it, and they look towards us to try to make it happen. And they were doing the Mongoose Jam. They did it 1 year before I joined there, and they're still going strong with that. And they don't have to do it. No, they don't have to. And they get a little bit. There's some value from it, but I'm not sure if it's the. There's definitely value from it, but they still. I don't think they would lose sleep if it didn't happen. I mean, it's a pretty cool thing that they're doing, and
I look at the Mongoose Jam, the Hell Track, even things like sponsoring riders for the most part. A lot of that is I just see like them giving back.
It's giving back, but it's also at the same time like it's they've done surveys where it's kids like to see that brands that they're going to support. They're even the kids at Walmart and Target that they have cool people behind it. Yeah. And you get Kevin Peraza, that kid, everybody loves him, and having him back in the brand it does help us. It really does, and it's, but
none of the other guys, just Kevin Peraza, right?
No, everybody else on the brand too. But I'm just saying, like, just it's really cool to have a team like we have, and we get to help them out, and they do help us out. They give the brand some legitimacy.
So, are you 3 years deep with Mongoose?
No, this is 5.
Wow.
Yeah. So it'll be 6 next year.
And still going strong. They don't hate you. You don't hate them.
Nope. I love it. I really. My wife. She knows. Like I say every day. Like, this is my favorite job. Like, I love it. They're a good brand to work for, and I think that's because they trust us and they let us sort of do what we do. We know bikes. We know BMX. Steve knows mountain bikes, and we get to do and help promote Mongoose through that, and also at the same time try to help the sport, because if the sport doesn't grow, that's bad. Also bad for business and bad for my heart.
Do you do any of the bike specking or anything, or are you pretty much just marketing guy?
No, we're just marketing. We'll give input from the riders. They'll tell us stuff, and we'll give that to them. But the main guy there is Brian Baldus, who's actually
he's an OG, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever met him, but I know that name.
Old school Midwest BMX guy, he's been around forever. So it's like they have the right people in the right places there, which is cool.
One thing...
Like the accountant knows how to account.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's perfect.
That's rare in the BMX world. Usually people can't do their
because
jobs.
They're not a BMXer.
Yeah, exactly. I guess so. No, it seems like the price point on the bikes are spec'd incredibly well for the price points. Just from what little research I do on the internet, and I see like in the Vital BMX forum, when people are all like, what's the $200 bike to get? It's pretty much unanimous. Yeah. L200 or something like that. Like, is that what it's called?
No, it's L100.
Okay.
The L200 is from the future. But
that's how I like to think. I plan ahead.
That's Brian Baldus. Like it's even when I was at Eastern, like I remember the guys there were like blown away with how he could spec bikes, like for such a good cost, and still be a good quality product. So that's him, man.
So going back, you were with Eastern for quite some time, both as a rider and as a dude working there, and I know they hit some hardships. When you went to Mongoose, did you leave Eastern for Mongoose, or did you leave Eastern and then Mongoose came up?
Well, yeah, the Eastern thing was a little rough, like we things just weren't going good.
Yeah.
And just I couldn't work for any cheaper, it's just so no, there was probably let's see, I think it was July when I left. So there was, and I didn't get on to Mongoose until January. So there was that lull right then of just nothing.
I didn't realize it was that long. Were you unemployment? What were you doing?
Holding signs on the street corner, just normal BMX stuff.
What were you actually doing?
Well, actually, Kevin McAvoy hit me up like it was probably a couple days after it was announced that I wasn't with him anymore, and he hit me up and got me some Red Bull gigs where I was just writing stories and stuff for him. So Kevin really helped it for those 8 months were great. I did my math really wrong, but for those 5 months, it was good. He really helped out because I was doing some Red Bull stuff, and then I was still doing. That year, did the Mongoose Jam separately, not on Mongoose, just to help Losi with that, and also I was helping Mark Losi with the Do Tour. So my income it got me by until Mongoose started.
That's pretty cool. So, am I crazy in thinking that at one point you told me you were going to be a plumber?
I was a plumber at one point.
But were you going to considering going back to that after Eastern?
No, I think it was just saying I have something to fall back onto because I have a trade skill, that I can fall back onto. But I don't know. Just it's hard thinking about digging in other people's crap.
But you did that at one point.
I did do that at one point.
How old were you when you were doing that?
It was like 22. 20, like that's when I started. That's probably when I really became a plumber, and I was still juggling that. And my first real bike sponsor was Wilkerson Airlines, Ron Wilkerson.
So that was before you were 22 then, right?
No, it was right around then.
I forget how old you are. You're very old.
Ancient, right. So I'll be 48 this year. It's been awesome.
You don't look a day over 47.
I know, I love it. So when I was on Wilkerson, I was still doing plumbing stuff because I remember I had to take a summer off to do a summer tour with Ron and all that. But it was, because you weren't making any money back then in the 90s, right? Even being a pro. Just barely making anything. So I was actually, being a plumber, it was great because I made a lot of money and I could take time off and go do these trips.
Was that like a union job?
No. North Carolina didn't have the union.
Okay.
So but I had a great boss that paid me well and let me take time off whenever I needed it to go ride. I mean, kind of didn't understand it, but then once he saw the X Games stuff and started seeing me, he got it. And then I just kind of, one day I just I can't do this anymore. And then I went and started working for Hal, for 2B and Play.
Hal Brindley?
Yeah. And so I went
which were clothing brands for those?
Yes, clothing brands. And I went from probably making, what was I making, about $26 an hour to $10. But it was so much better. I was in BMX world, I was like,
were those clothing companies doing enough to actually pay you $10 an hour, like 40 hours a week type of thing?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, Play was doing really well at the time. I mean, Dan's was going strong, and they're obviously the number one customer. And yeah, I mean, it was just me and Hal, and every once in a while we'd hire somebody else. Now, I think at one point he probably had 3 employees. I was probably the only full time, but
so him and you and 2 others.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like Mike Noonan and then Chris Hargrave. So
I don't think I know Chris Hargraves.
Oh, he was editor for Ride for a little bit.
Like I said, you're very, very old.
I know that ancient, and also at that time in that house. We're also Zach from Kink was living with us.
That's random.
That's when he first started doing Kink and the.
What city was that?
Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
I don't think I ever knew Zach living anywhere other than Rochester.
Yeah, no, he lived there for a couple years and opened up a skate shop even and did really well with a skate shop. And
he's a smart dude.
He's a very smart dude.
Kicks ass at business.
Him and Steve Bundeck had an office. Like there was a skate shop, and then Steve was running his. He had a little advertising agency out of there before he started doing Snap.
Good old days.
Yeah,
before my time.
Real old.
So, what was there ever a time in your life when you were essentially making a living off just riding BMX?
Yeah, the DK years when I was on Eastern.
So the DK years, was it DK 1-800-COLLECT where they're co-sponsors?
Yeah.
So it was like a good paycheck to ride for them?
DK 1-800-COLLECT, and then we also had DC was a co-sponsor at the time, and there was a few other ones. And then there was some weird, this was the time when internet started, just like a Blue Torch. Do you remember?
Was that like a TV network or something?
Yeah. Like they were like $1,000 a month to run a sticker on your top tube.
How long did that last?
Write one blog a month type
That's
thing.
awesome.
That was like a year.
Nice.
I mean, it was a year of like a sticker on my bike.
Essentially free money.
Yeah,
it's not free, but you know what I mean.
No, but it was crazy. It was just, and then also there was that was time when the Day Mirror games were coming out, and I was honored Dave picked me as a character on that, and so that was a little bit of money too, and I was also doing Warp Tour. So the Warp Tour that was the Vans Warp Tour.
Was that just shows?
Kind of. I mean, you're in this awesome music festival, and there was a vert ramp that was perfect. Middle of a field, you go do 2 1-hour. They're not even demos. You just ride for an hour.
Just like a chill session, like
yeah,
whatever.
Be like me, Thorne, Steve Caballero, those guys.
Were you and Thorne the only BMX riders?
Me and Thorne. Then it was Steve Caballero, Neil Hendricks, Mike Frazier, and then I did it a couple years, but those were the main people. And then they'd bring some other. Who else is on there? Oh, Brian Wainwright. I don't know if you ever heard of him, the roller skater, not blader, but skater.
On a vert ramp, roller skater.
Awesome.
I don't think I knew that existed.
So awesome.
Cool dude.
Look it up, kids. Yeah, real cool. He's from North Carolina too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. How'd you end up in North Carolina?
Well, after my dad inseminated my mom in Hawaii.
Yes.
He was stationed back in North Carolina.
Okay.
So I was born in Hawaii for like I was born there one time, but I was there for like 6 months after, and then went to North Carolina, and then just pretty much been there ever since.
Yeah.
Did a few moves. Like I remember when I was just turned 30, I was single, had no real ties. I was like, I'm going to move from one place for a year. And I moved to Madison, Wisconsin for a year. Lived up there for a while, like rode with Kaczynski. And then after that, I moved to Philadelphia. Well, I thought I was moving to Philadelphia, but it was really downtown Pennsylvania, like 45 minutes outside of Philly.
Okay.
And then lived with Van for a bit. That's where me and Van became pretty good friends there.
So Madison, is that Madison where Mongoose is?
Yeah, ironically.
That's so random.
Yeah, and I would pass that office all the time going to visit Chris Rye, because he lived like 2 exits down from it. And I'd always pass her building.
Are you close with Chris Rye?
Yeah.
Is he a billionaire based off Bitcoin?
He might be.
I heard from a decent source. I've never met Chris Rye. I don't know him at all, but someone's like, when the whole Bitcoin fad was going on, they were like, yeah, Rye's been planning this out for a few years or something, so.
He might be. He's pretty smart, too.
Well, then why do you start that BMX thing?
People just love BMX. It's not that, I don't know. They just love it, and they can't. I mean, it's like, I'm 48. Well, I'll be 48 this year, and BMX is still one of my favorite things. Like, I don't know how I can not love it.
Yeah.
And it keeps you young, too.
Does it? Is that a good thing, though? It's
a great thing. I mean, there was, where was I flying? I was flying somewhere, to Cape Town for one of the events there.
Uh-huh.
And there was a lady sitting in front of me, and she started chatting, and she talking about her kids, and I was like, oh, yeah, I got a kid. And she said, how old are you? I was like, 47. She's like, you do not look 47. I was like, that's because I'm pretty immature. And that's just, I don't know. It just keeps you young, and I think it's good.
I thought you were going to say she scolded you for having a kid so late in life.
No.
How old are you when your daughter was born?
40.
I guess that's not that crazy.
No, it's not that bad. I mean, by the time she's dating dudes, I'll be old and senile and won't care.
Yeah.
So.
You'll be like needing to go kick a dude's ass, and the dude will kick your ass because you're old.
Well, I probably can't get out of the wheelchair.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's talk a little bit about that one time you had to get 2 new knees.
Oh, right.
I remember you telling me that you did a flip to fakie, and it was like, I can never do this again with the new knees and whatnot. Is that still the case?
You know what, though? What's crazy is it doesn't feel like it because I feel so good.
Yeah.
But I'm just not supposed to do anything high impact. Like, I remember, what was I? Like, it was in my 40s, early 40s. I did a handrail, and I landed just fine. I was like 15-stair rail, landed, and I was like, crap, I gotta go ice my knees. They hurt so bad. Like, I was like, it just sucks to be pulling something. And me and the doctor's been looking at my knees, and they tried all kinds of things, like gel injections, where it's just like it sounds like, inject gel in between your because I had no cartilage left, so it was trying to be like fake cartilage, but it didn't work for long. And then finally we're like, all right, let's do it. And what was it? My daughter was 3 or 4. And I got it done. I just went and got 2 new knees. Like, they cut bone and take out my knee, shave my kneecap in half and put titanium on it. And I have titanium caps over my bones. And then just some fake cartilage in there. And the main concern is you can't do anything high impact because it's in the bottom part. There's actually a tiny little rod that goes into my bone. And you don't want to fracture that and crack it. And then they got to drill more and put more bone in there. So can't do anything high, and I'm fine with it. And I feel like I've done what I want to do in street and stuff, but I still ride transitions. And I mean, my wife asked me the other day, like, is there anything you really want to do or you really miss? And like,
threesome.
No.
Sorry.
No. 540s. Like, I miss 540s. Like, but on vert 540s.
Like a legit vert ramp high.
Yeah, like when I stopped riding vert, like 12 foot was the vert ramps. Those are perfect. Like, I don't like the new 14 foot ones. It's just so hard to get speed. But yeah, just going on just doing a 5 foot 540. That's what I would like to do.
When is the last time you did that? How many years prior to the knee situation did that happen?
Probably like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It wasn't 5. It was probably like 3 foot. I just remember being on just one of those things. I was on a 10-foot vert ramp and it was in England and just pumping back and doing airs and just all of a sudden I was like, oh, let's just try it, and it worked out.
That's a dangerous one to not work out.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to have it work out.
Yeah, usually it's pretty good, but.
What's your take on everything going on in BMX these days? With there's some pretty crazy changes with the Olympics and the rise of women in BMX, kind of a split in the style of competitions with the bowl style events. And, there's just a lot of a lot of changes are going on right now.
It's just changes. It's just what happens is a lot of times change is progression, and you want it to keep progressing. And the thing is, like, people are afraid of it. The Olympic things, it bothers a lot of people, but I don't think it's going to change, like, the everyday person that just wants to go ride a ramp. You don't have to compete in feasts if you don't want to, but if you want to be the dude that wants to be in the Olympics, compete in feasts, you can be that guy. If you want to be like Steve Crandall, just hold jams in them with pallets and stuff, you can be that dude. I just think people overthink and overworry. It's good to be protective of the sport, but at the same time, I think people just got to kind of let go and let it let some part of it run its course. Make sure the right people are in charge,
Yeah.
doing it. But and I like the difference between bowl comps and
a traditional park contest.
Yeah, because it does show different types of people. Like, and I'm gonna, Mongoose rider Greg Gillenworth wouldn't. Feast is not something for him, but a bowl comp, that's where he shines.
I've seen him ride a feast event, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching him do it.
Everybody thoroughly enjoys watching him ride, but
he can't win. He can't win.
But he can win a bowl comp. He can win a Vans because he has the style. He finds the lines that nobody can find. That's kind of what those bowl comps are about. Here or at Feast, it's more like let's get a good run together with some crazy tricks. Like I like it all. I even just love street stuff too. It's just. And then going to Crandall's events. Those are amazing. Those backyard things.
I need to go to at least one next year. I've never been to one.
Dude, they're so fun, and and his remind me of what it was like in the, the 90s, and it's just a DIY event. It's people having fun. There's inappropriate words on the microphone. It's really it is. It's like that's my daughter's going to learn her first curse words from Steve. It's fine, but you can make any of this how you want it, but I don't think you should overcomplicate it. And just make sure the right people are behind the right events. But so far, I feel like Feast has been positive for BMX.
Yeah,
I feel like the Olympics have been positive for BMX. I feel like Steve's Lost Bowl Jams have been positive. It's different. Everybody can twist any of these to be negative if they want, but. I don't know, I'm just a positive guy, though.
It's the same way. I guess you could twist Mongoose's presence being negative.
Sure. And some people, it can't, like, the thing I get all the time when we're at events is people saying, oh, I didn't know Mongoose made good bikes. That's because we're not in bike shops right now. Like, you like, the only place you can get the high quality Mongoose is like on Amazon or something like that in the U.S. So we're all over worldwide. We're in shops everywhere. Like in the UK, South Africa, Australia. We're in legit bike shops.
When you say good bikes, I assume you mean good complete bikes.
Yes.
There's not really aftermarket stuff. For
No, we don't do a lot of aftermarket stuff. So it's mostly complete bikes. You know, but the good thing about the even stuff like the putting a positive spin on being in box stores is like the geometry on those bikes are good.
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone brand, like maybe, or like a stepping stone bike where people like, hopefully a kid, I got started on just some, I don't even know name bike, but I wouldn't have been able to afford a $400 fit or anything.
And it would have been irresponsible for your parents to buy you it before they knew you were actually into it.
Exactly. But it's now a kid can get into, they can buy the Mongoose, and if it feels good, they start riding, but they can get it for affordable price. Then they can either stick with the brand, or if they want to go to something different, like a Fit or DK or something, then they can.
I'm a big proponent of, I always have the worst analogies because they're all so pessimistic and negative, but like gateway drugs, like get them hooked. Just get them hooked, get them on that bike, oh, I don't like the Olympics. Like, well, if a kid sees this and then gets into BMX, he's going to find his own path. When I got my first bike, it was a Haro, and I thought the X Games was super cool. And fast forward a year, I saw Nowhere Fast and got a King Fiend and thought X Games was stupid and I only like street.
Well, that's it. Like, didn't Garrett Reynolds get into BMX because of X Games? I thought he saw it. I mean, I could be wrong,
I couldn't
but
confirm or deny that. But I think most people in that age
group
did.
Maybe check on that before you air this part. Cut it out if it's not.
Well,
right.
if it wasn't Garrett, it was 100 other pros.
Yeah, but that are now like street riders.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's just get the kids into it. Like whatever it takes, get kids into riding bikes. And I mean, we have too much to deal with right now, or too many other things like video games, overprotective parents, iPads, just so many things to keep kids off of doing real things.
Pedophiles. Right?
Oh my God. He's naked. Kyle Carlson is naked in front of me.
It was that cider.
And he's got a knife. It's up to my throat.
Should I pause this and then I'll put the knife away and the clothes back on?
You can do it as we're talking.
Okay, well, that didn't really happen. But I did say pedophiles and thought it was funny, and apparently it wasn't. So for that, I apologize. And
especially when you have a kid.
I don't though, so I can say shit like that.
I know.
But that explains why your wife hates me.
No, she loves you. She thinks you're really funny.
Yeah, she's mistaken.
I didn't tell her that.
Thank you.
She can figure that out on her own.
What's your take on kind of a new thing? You've been in the game for such a long time. And all of a sudden, there's this gigantic rise of women's presence in BMX. I know it's something you've supported through Mongoose. I mean, what's your take on all that?
I think it's awesome. I think the more, like, when I grew up, there was Chris Stauschy. I don't know if she rode for GT. She was like in the 80s, had a couple tricks, and it was more of a novelty. Yeah, and that kind of sucked, But these girls aren't novelties. They're doing like legit stuff, like we're psyched to be sponsoring Nikita. She's awesome, and she's always learning new stuff, like a lot of good combos and stuff. And then you see like Angie, like today I watched her just stretch a no-hander over the box jump, super smooth and like perfect. I think it's really cool, and just having a daughter myself, I'm like, this is awesome. Giving her something to look forward to or to look up to.
How important do you think it is for brands like Mongoose to actually get involved and start backing these girls?
I think it's important for all the brands to be doing it.
It seems like
it's and a lot of brands are doing it now, but I think it's like I said, it's not a novelty. They're here, they're riding, they're progressing super fast. So
yeah, the level of progression, when you want to look at what they were doing 2 years ago to today, is absolutely insane.
And I see, like, I saw a lot of new girls here I didn't see from at a couple of the other stops, So it's really cool to see just more and more females coming into this and killing it, man.
Yeah. I kind of have a bit of a theory that I'm not that psyched on, but I kind of feel like in a lot of ways, competitive BMX is accidentally kind of becoming a rich kid sport. I feel like all the events are so far apart, and I feel like there's not nearly as many local or regional events as there should be. I know there's always talks of, USA BMX is going to get into freestyle, and it's been a lot of talk without much to show for it. And bikes are expensive, contests are far away. Obviously, you can find your spot as a street rider, as a dude that just rides for fun or whatever, but there are those kids out there that want to be competitive, and I feel like without access to a proper training facility and parents to buy you plane tickets, it's really hard to do. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, the training facility part I don't agree with. I just feel like kids can get to a level where they can start competing in amateurs without training. They can just ride, and there are like Brumlow from the Florida series. That's awesome.
It is. It's incredible.
Like have you been to one?
I've been to one.
Yeah.
And it blew my fucking mind.
No, it's really cool. Like how many young kids are out there riding, and then he even does the thing where if the park's big enough, you can just pay and ride. You don't have to enter. But it just gets everybody together riding, and then because I remember, the far apart thing doesn't bother me. How far apart, how far away things are. Because when Hoffman was doing CFB series, those are amateur. You get 10 dudes piled in a car, same 10 dudes piled into a single bed hotel room,
Yeah, but let's see those same 10 dudes pile in a car and drive it to Budapest.
But that's not. Feast does do amateur series.
Feast does, but there really isn't much for as far as amateurs.
No, you're right.
Brumlow absolutely holds it down in Florida, but Florida's a bit of an anomaly. What he's doing down there is incredible, and honestly, somehow the Florida scene really embraces it, and I think a lot of scenes don't necessarily embrace events like that the way they do.
It's a tricky question, man. It's hard to figure out, because first you got to find somebody that wants to run that event and has to not worry about money, because it's going to be hard to break even with those things. But
it's got to be for, I hate to say charity, but it's got to be you're doing it for the goodness of the sport.
Right. It's hard, man. That's a tough one. Do
you guys support Brumlow's events?
Yeah,
I believe you. Are you title sponsor something, right?
Yeah, we have been for the last couple of years, because it's. I mean, if somebody else has a crazy amateur event like his, hit me up.
So, as the guy behind essentially the team at Mongoose, which between the cool events and the fact that they have money to go on trips and to support the riders, I'm guessing it's a pretty desirable company for people to ride for. I'm sure you get reached out to all the time of people wanting to be on Mongoose.
We do get some. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sure that's the case, but I'm just curious what exactly you would look for in getting a new rider, what you think the guys you have bring to the team, and what you try to represent when you bring these guys on board and start writing them paychecks.
Well, these guys that we have on the team now are like, I just feel like they're real riders that want to ride, whether they get paid or not, and they're going to showcase BMX in the right light. They all compete, but you can also see that they all love riding just as much. It's not just a competition. They're not just some stiff dudes out there, that just want to win. Nothing wrong with that, but I just like that everybody's approachable. Everybody's like, they're just super positive dudes. Like everybody on our team, I'm psyched on everybody, and it's just it's fun going on trips. It doesn't feel like you're on this big corporate type trip. We're just having fun and riding bikes, and I'm trying to capture video and photos of them as much as I can. But it's picking up new dudes, like this stuff. I do get emails and do get things, but like,
and I'm sure it's from like desirable dudes too.
Yeah. It's all good people. It's like, but right now, like the team's pretty full. I mean, you can only do so much, because if you start adding more people, you're just going to dilute your resources and not being able to do. You want to be able to do as much as you can for the people you have right now.
Yeah.
So it is hard, and it's like, I mean, I'm psyched on our team so much.
Do you foresee any changes in the next few years? I know a couple of the guys are getting a little bit older.
It's really hard. I mean, because every once in a while you'll be thinking, they don't seem to be into it, and then all of a sudden they just blow up and like
hit you with some serious fire.
And it's cool. So it's good. And when you let people know they're slipping a little bit, they usually like, all right, they want to do it. So.
Why don't you guys embrace having like an amateur team? You back so many amateur events, so you're definitely doing your part to support the amateurs. But is there a reason you're not try and necessarily sponsor the next generation?
No, not necessarily. It's like we, on the BMX race side, we are doing something like that because we just started redoing race bikes too.
I didn't know that, so that's news to me.
But it's you should check out vitalbmx.com. Like, a lot of news is on there.
I didn't know it was a race site.
Oh, me neither. So it's that's something that I think we're going to start looking into.
Yeah,
like just kind of doing an amateur type team.
I think it could make sense to kind of groom the next generation a little bit. Maybe find some of these guys that can be a part of Mongoose from amateur to Olympics even, like if you want to go the competitive route, that's...
Yeah. And for a lot of guys we pick up, we do want them to ride some contests because that's where you do get a lot of exposure, but it doesn't have to be their prime thing. Like, look at Greg Illworth or Paul Ryan. They're more video dudes, but they will go and hit some events and stuff too.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think picking up some amateurs would be a cool thing.
But like I said, if it came down to the budget goes to picking up amateurs or to supporting the amateur events that you guys support, I think what you're doing right now is bigger than hooking up any handful of guys.
Yeah, so it's tricky where to actually put the dollars that you have available into.
Yeah.
So it's good. I do make sure we do support amateur events, and even with our Mongoose Jam, we make sure there's an amateur on every team. Which is pretty cool. They get to ride with all the pro dudes.
Did you kind of cook up that idea since you've kind of shifted the Mongoose Jam into more of a video thing with the teams?
Yeah, it just seemed like it was something. The way it's easier to manage, and it's also it's just the riders love it. Like, if you just it's instead of trying to do a 60-second run, your best stuff, you have 4 or 5 days to actually try to put together 3.5 minutes of footage. But yeah,
before it went the video route, I found them very confusing. They were cool and a lot of great riding happened, but I had a hard time following it.
Me too. That's why we changed it.
Great job.
Thank you.
So you're kind of in charge of mountain bike stuff as well, right?
Just the team, managing the team and stuff. Like,
is that something you had any sort of experience in at all, or you just kind of get thrown to the wolves and figure it out?
Kind of got thrown into it, but they're like, "Oh, are you okay with this?" And then when I looked at the team we had, I was like, "Well, a lot of those guys are just, most of them were riding big BMX bikes, But
yep.
But then I got to learn a lot about the all mountain and just like slope bikes and stuff, and it's pretty cool. Like, I love going to mountain bike events. They're very family oriented, where it's just like
family oriented. You said that very poorly. Try once more.
They're very good for family people. They're no, it's just cool watching families with bikes just walking around the mountain together and just riding, and you'll even see like the mom and dad will be in mountain bikes and the kids will be in BMX bikes. It's pretty cool.
Do you? I mean, you go on trips with the guys and stuff too, right? Like,
yeah.
You're pretty involved. Are you pretty into all that?
I am. It's fun. I mean, it's I remember thinking, like, man, if my 22-year-old self saw me now, he'd kick my ass. But I wish I could tell my 22-year-old self, hey, this stuff is actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun being on big bikes and like doing 40-foot jumps. But the suspension just sucks everything up. Like, you can case so smooth. It's awesome.
I've done very, very, very little mountain bike stuff, but one thing I've always noticed is the whole scene seems so friendly and welcoming. BMX is, I guess, kind of youth driven and somewhat judgmental, and there's drama and whatnot, and it just seems like mountain bikes, for the most part, I'm sure there's exceptions, but for the most part, from my experience, guys have just been so welcoming and friendly. It
is like BMX is more of a clique. Like, already since we started talking about mountain bikes, I guarantee you 75% of the people stop listening. So but yeah, it is. They're pretty. They're just like, hey, we love riding bikes. We don't care what kind of bikes they are, and they're fun. Like, I mean, that's why seeing a guy like Nyquist, you should see it. Like, how welcoming people are to him at like the Crankworks and stuff. People are so psyched that he's involved. You figure they might be a little bit like, oh, BMX are coming in trying to do our stuff, but no, they're stoked. They're so stoked.
And that's exactly how I think it would be if an MTB guy came to a BMX event. I think it would be, at least behind the back, some shit talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Semenuk could come out here and do some stuff, but nobody knows who Semenuk is in the BMX world, do they?
They should if they don't. He had clips in the Ennies video. Didn't he? Grounded. Chapters.
Yeah.
He had clips in that. So
no, I mean, he kills it on a BMX bike, and
he kills it on everything, man. He's incredible.
So it's I do wish I would have been a little more open minded. So anybody out there, be a little more open minded. All the bikes are fun. Like, I'm still a BMXer even when I'm on my mountain bike, and it's I don't care what I'm riding. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how to do things differently and how to just be weird on a bike.
I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, Rays in Cleveland would do a video contest called The Odd Couple.
Yeah.
And it was a BMX and a mountain bike guy. And I got sent out there many years ago doing some stuff for Haro. And he wasn't on my team, but I met Greg Watts there.
Yeah.
I mean, I was probably 20. I think I was underage. And I think I still drank anyways. So sorry about that, Rays. But yeah, like Greg Watts was there, and Phil Sunbaum, you know Phil Sunbaum?
Phil Sunbaum.
Like,
he makes mountain bikes look normal because he's such
a gigantic man. But I was hanging out with like Phil and Greg, and this is really good because I was like 19, 20 years old, and I was like, Greg is killing it, and B, like, Phil's the coolest dude I've ever met. Like, I just all around got a really good experience. So ever since then, I've always kind of like. I kind of learned at a young age that like these guys are for the most part pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's you just got that bad, like, mountain bikes got the bad rap from like you just see these stiff dudes in spandex and going sprinting down the mountain or something. But it's everybody I've met's been really cool.
Well, and it seems like maybe like 3-4 years ago, at least as far as jumping events go, they really surpassed BMX, which makes sense based on the bigger bikes. Bigger bikes, bigger jumps, bigger tricks. It all kind of
right. Like, their bikes make sense on how big the jumps are.
Yeah.
Like,
I was talking to somebody. I'm trying to remember who it was. Maybe it was even Drew Bazanson. Maybe it's not even a crazy obscure story. But I was talking to somebody and I'm kind of giving them shit for riding mountain bikes, and they were like, "I like to ride big dirt jumps, and there aren't big dirt jump events in BMX." And I was like, oh, "That's a really good point."
It's a good point. And I remember we were out riding some local trails by my house, and Darden was out there, and he wanted to try the big bike, so I gave him I have a 26-inch bike that I ride on dirt, just it's easier on the knees.
Yep.
Gave it to him, and he loved it, and then we just sent him one. Like, just
that's sick.
Yeah, just I mean.
And then he moved to China.
he that's selling out.
I love the United States of America. I was born here. I bleed red, white, and blue. You know who's killing it on mountain bikes is Ronnie Napolitan.
Oh, yeah?
He, blasts, 6-foot airs on concrete quarters on a mountain bike.
Oh, he should do more.
It's crazy. It was funny because I was at Woodward East, a week or so ago for the Vans qualifier, and he was like, "Oh, I wish I could ride it on my mountain bike." And I kind of laughed, and he was, serious. But he legit kills the ball. But Ronnie's another one of those guys. He's a big dude.
And he's going to make anything look good on any bike. He's that guy that could just make bike riding look good in general,
And make coffee good, too.
That's true.
Great guy.
He does. That Rothrock coffee, it's really good.
Are you paid by them now?
Yes. Rothrock coffee paid me nothing. Paid me beans.
Free beans. I think they've been going to send me coffee since they've opened, but it's Mr. Bestwick and not following through.
Hey guys, we need coffee.
Ironically, Jamie texted me right before you got here and was like, "I've been listening to all the podcasts. I really like them, and here I am bad mouthing him on the next one."
But how much better would this podcast be if we both had a nice hot cup of Rothrock coffee
and not this bullshit hotel coffee?
Yeah,
I'm with you. Yeah.
So
that sounds good to me. How often are you actually riding your bike these days? Your BMX bike?
When I'm not I was riding probably 5 days a week.
Wow.
And before, I kind of hurt my ankle in Hiroshima.
Doing what?
Japan, just jumping on this slide, and I just jumped off and just trying to double tire ride down this real skinny slide. You can't see my hands right now, but it's really skinny, and just jumped off and just kind of sprained it.
I mean, that was a couple months ago.
I know,
right?
It's just been giving me trouble. I think the older you get, the more or the harder it is to heal. And then I'd be walking places, shooting photos, and step unevenly, and just I was starting over again. But before that, I try to get on my bike, and this is granted whether it's my BMX bike or my mountain bike. I'd try to be on some sort of bike at least 5 times a week. And it's funny because after my knees, I decided to learn. I was like, I don't care about real progression. learning new tricks, but I was trying to learn to be smoother, which is something I've never done. So I was like, that was my new progression. And I felt like it felt really good on my bike before I hurt myself. So I'm just psyched to get back to that.
Is it getting better?
Yeah, it's getting better.
You see a doctor or anything, or is this just kind of...
No, I did.
Did they give you any cool advice?
Physical therapy.
Don't eat gluten.
Yeah, I can't eat gluten either.
Is that real?
Yeah, it's real.
Are you sure? Because I feel like all those idiots that you just like to be like, I can't have gluten, and it's just like...
They're probably idiots, but I know me and my daughter both have celiac, so we can't have it, or else we...
You and your daughter both do?
Yeah.
So you passed the disease on to her.
I passed the disease on to my daughter.
That's not that big of a deal, because I think my family has a history of really bad heart problems.
Yeah.
I'd probably take no gluten over that.
I think we win.
Yeah.
So, no, it's more of an inconvenience than anything. It's not like... It's not heart disease. So,
yeah, it's not going to kill you if you handle it. So what exactly happens if you have gluten?
I fart a lot, which that hurts everybody around me.
Yeah.
I get malnourished. Like if I just keep eating gluten, it just does something to me where I'm malnourished. They used to call it wasting away disease before they knew what it was.
That's a way cooler term.
Yeah, I have wasting away disease. So if I keep eating gluten, like I'll just be malnourished and not get nutrients and die. I will die eventually.
That's tragic.
Yeah.
So like when you go out and grab a beer, are you like fucked for a bit if you have just like a regular beer?
Depends. Some beers are really low in gluten that don't affect me too bad, but for the most part,
are you pretty well read on that, like what you can and can't have?
Yeah, I know. I don't. I won't mess with putting something that I know is going to kind of have ill effect on me.
So did you suffer from this for a while before it was really diagnosed?
I did. Like it was
were
probably
you just miserable?
5 years. I just always felt out of energy, and I was a vegetarian for like 12 years, and then I would eat and just because most of the meat substitute is wheat gluten.
Okay.
My mortal enemy.
Okay.
So I would have that stuff, but I would just feel always run down. And I saw I was getting old. And I remember when I was 40, right when Josephine was born, went and got all these tests. And like, yeah, you have no iron in your body. And they just did a bunch of other colonoscopy. It's a fun afternoon.
Did they really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Colon and endo.
Wow.
They were trying to get the cameras to touch.
Did it work?
I don't know. They still haven't shown me the footage. So, but it's and then that's when they found out like I was malnourished, and then so I just stopped eating gluten and feel way better.
What were the main things you cut out of your diet?
Bread, like real bread. Now I can do gluten-free bread. Just anything and pasta, because most pasta is wheat-based, and then beer.
Yeah.
And I was just starting to really like good beers. Like before that, like a year before that, I was a PBR High Life dude.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, there's a good world out here. Look at all this. And then shrunk down to 4 more beers.
That probably, for the most part, saved you a bunch of money, though.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now that I'm not into the micro brews.
Dude, I've been trying to cut back, my passion for quality beers and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to convert myself a little bit to, like, shitty beer and light beer just because I get less hungover. You know what I mean? Just, like, I can go drink Coors Light all night and just be fine the next day. And, like, especially the older I get, I go out and have 6 IPAs, and the next day I'm dragging. And the craziest part about it is, like, go out and drink light beers all night and go to pay my tab, and it's, like, $25. Where I'm like, usually that's $100.
Yeah. It's not only is it easier on your head, but it's financially easier on your wallet.
It's just a shame because I love a proper beer.
Are we supposed to be talking about BMX?
What's that?
Bicycle motocross? Did you always know it was motocross, or did you ever think it was motocross?
I always knew it was motocross.
Oh, not me. I was dumb.
How long?
Probably 6 years.
That's pretty embarrassing.
Hey, I'm an embarrassing type of dude.
What was your first BMX? Like your real one? I know you said you had like a no-name bike.
It was a Redline RL20A.
Did you race when you were younger?
No, never raced. Yeah, man, if you watch me pedal, you'll know I never raced. I remember I went to Roots Jam once, and I was cranking towards something to do on the wall, and I remember Brian Foster and Chris Muller when they were laughing at me, and they said something, and Foster came up and he's like, man, you're like Paul Bunyan chopping wood. Just like, you strokes are up and down rather than around. And it's just like, you can definitely, no, never raced. It's just, I remember seeing a guy ride a quarter. My first thing I ever saw was like an 8-foot quarter pipe. it was 8 foot, and there was bushes and trees all behind it. And a friend of mine goes, "Yeah, this guy Greg jumps that," and I was like, "He jumps into the bushes?" I didn't realize like he airs up and down. And then I went and next day saw him ride, and I was hooked. And I was like when I was 14.
Was that like a homemade quarter pipe?
Oh yeah, homemade quarter pipe, end of a road, because they didn't care back then,
Yeah.
And then I just like I was just hooked, and it just never had that. It's just that one aha moment, You're like, oh, this is the best.
Yeah. Did you really have skate parks or anything back then?
No, we had not. It was all quarter pipes in the backyards, or like I remember I built a wedge ramp in my backyard. Not very exciting.
Sounds very anticlimactic.
Yes, it was. And then and we finally got to build our first half pipe, and then we did talk to the city one time and built a 40-foot. It was 10-foot tall, 40-foot wide half pipe, and it was awesome.
What city was that?
Havelock, North Carolina.
Where is that?
Real small military town, like 2 hours east of Raleigh.
Okay.
And then there was a really small 70s style skate park that I love called Swinson Park.
In North Carolina?
In North Carolina. And then they just, I guess somebody went and sacrificed a dog there one day, and so they're like, oh, Satan worshipers come out here, so they buried it.
That dog could have been a real asshole.
City officials didn't think so.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I wonder if it would be a good move if we sacrificed dogs on basketball courts if they'd start building more skate parks.
You never know.
But I feel bad about killing dogs. I think dogs are pretty cool.
I mean, maybe Vital. This is something Vital can look into.
Maybe not.
I know Brad owns a lot of the Vital names. Maybe that's one of them.
Vital dog sacrifice.
Yeah.
that sounds like good business to me. I don't know much about business, but that sounds like good business.
Yeah, perfect.
What are your future plans? I mean, you want to hang out in the BMX world for the foreseeable future?
I love it.
Still digging it?
Love it. Like it's crazy. Like I don't feel as old as I am, I guess. Like it's in my blood. I don't want to just like it's seriously one of the. I just genuinely love BMX, and I feel like I appreciate where it's taken me. I want to try to give back as much as I can.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. As long as BMX will have me, I'm here.
How old's your daughter?
She's 7. She just turned 7.
Has she shown any interest in hopping on a BMX bike, or is that not cool because it's what her dad does?
No, she's just scared. Like, she just actually last year learned how to ride without training wheels.
Okay.
But we'll be riding along, and all of a sudden she'll just yell, "No footer," and just take her feet off and hang them off as hard as she can. But she's pretty much a wimp. I'm not sure she'll get into it. Unless she hears me call her a wimp, and then she'll probably prove me wrong.
If it was something she was interested in, what would you feel? How would you feel about her pursuing it?
I mean, I would back her. If she's into it, it's how can I say no to something that's brought me so much joy, and I've seen the world because of BMX.
Yeah, but you also have 2 fake knees because of BMX.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
Is it?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
What's your favorite country?
Ooh.
Besides the United States of America.
Like, honestly, I really love China. It's
really?
So, like, I love Shanghai. Shanghai's amazing. But, like, I also love Japan. I love the Asian culture. But Japan and China are 2 different countries.
Those 2 places could not be any more different, man.
Like, you can do whatever you want in China, but it's pretty dirty. It's pretty, like, Japan's a little more strict, but it's clean, I love the Asian culture. Those are probably my 2 favorite countries.
Yeah. Have you been to both of them multiple times?
Yes.
Yeah.
China more, actually.
Just judging and whatnot?
Yeah, judging. We did those Asian X Games. They did those almost for like 10 years in Shanghai.
They don't do those anymore, do they? That's a shame.
Yeah, because now we got to go to like Chengdu, which is cloudy all the time. Is that cloud?
I think it's it's overcast, a lot of rain.
And pollution.
Yeah, it's all pollution. There's no rain. What do you think of Chengdu? Do you like it?
Oh, I was told not to really say anything bad No, it's okay. I love the pandas. The pandas are awesome.
Yeah, I have a hard time. I like it, but 2 weeks is a bit much, man.
Yeah.
I think I could do 2 weeks in Japan, no problem.
Yeah. Japan.
Amazing.
No, I would pick Japan over China.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
Japan's your favorite country?
Yeah, Japan would be my favorite country.
Yeah. What's your least favorite country?
It's a good question. I've never thought about that.
Well, you have to right now.
America.
That's not cool, man.
No, I'm just joking. See, now people really started. No, I can't. I don't think I really have one.
Switzerland.
No, they're. You know what? It's pretty damn expensive there.
Yeah.
It's really expensive there. Maybe that is my least favorite because it's so pricey.
I had that experience in Sweden. That was a gnarly one for me. And I think Switzerland's more. I've never been to. I've only been to, like, airports in Switzerland. No,
but yeah, me and my wife went to Zurich for vacation, and we went in for, like, we bought 2 coffees and a parfait. Whatever, fancy ice cream dish thing for breakfast, and it was like $30. $30. And that was one of the cheaper meals we bought.
Did you bill it to Mongoose?
No.
She's a school teacher, right?
She is a school teacher.
What age does she teach?
She teaches special ed from first through it's elementary.
Okay. Is that how she can deal with you from working with special ed elementary
kids? Exactly how
kids?
she can deal with me. It's the only way she can deal with me.
Yeah. That's...
And there's a lot of BMXers that have wives that are teachers.
That makes sense.
It's pretty crazy when you start looking around.
I'm trying to think here off the top of my head. I can definitely think of a couple.
Yeah, so it makes sense. We're still kids,
and they like to fix you. Off the top of your head, what's the best trip you've ever been on? Let's say BMX trip specifically.
The Costa Rica one. We did one in Costa Rica, and it was amazing. Like it was partly due with like Kenneth Tencio was our tour guide, and showed us his country. Like it was perfect. Like it was. We got to see a lot of cool things. I did almost kill the Mongoose team though.
Oh shit! I almost killed me too.
Yeah, you were there. That's right. I was like, I thought you were there. I just forgot. Yeah, I ran into you and Kenneth, and you legitimately thought somebody was trying to run you off the road.
Yeah, it was like what, the second or third day of the trip or something, right?
It was the first.
Okay, because I remember it was like I hadn't quite. It was my first time ever going to Costa Rica in my life, so it was one of those like, ooh, is this country sketchy? I don't really know yet, And like, all of a sudden we're getting like ran off the road by a van.
Yeah, it was the first full day. Like brakes went out. Like luckily got out of that. But that trip was really fun for me. Like it's been a while. Like I've been on a lot of trips, but Road Fools 2 was also one of my standout trips that I really loved.
What were the cities on that?
That was all West Coast. Like we did San Francisco, Seattle, Portland. Just up in that area. Me and Mike Arlene came in late though. They went through Salt Lake first. That's where they first saw Aiken.
Oh, when he was like a child.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Wow.
And but then I met those guys in San Francisco, and that trip was really fun too.
Who was the crew off the top of your head?
Robbo, Mike Tagg, Sandy Carson, Joe Rich, Escamilla, Brian Castillo. Who am I missing? Mike Arlene. And myself. I think that was it.
How many Road Fools did you go on?
2. 2 as being on them. Then I was on the Rock and Roll tour, and then just doing props, mic stuff on a few others. But
yeah. So you were on 2, and what was the other one?
3, 2 and 3.
And then they were like, all right, enough of this dude.
Yeah, they can't. You can only handle so much of me.
Where was 3?
3 was East Coast. It was we did Maryland, Philadelphia, DC, Chapel Hill area, and just in that general area.
When you were going on those, would your sponsors kind of pay for you to be there?
Yes. Well, they don't pay for you to be there, but they pay for your way there.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. I never really knew that. That's one thing I kind of miss. I don't miss it because I was really too young to be a part of stuff then, but I feel like everybody's kind of so afraid of working together and so afraid of paying for the guy to go on a trip where the guy's riding other bikes and stuff.
But man, props. The Road Fools were the best things. People
They
loved
were.
them, and they paid for us to go in there, and then props give you a little bit of food money.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was good. Those were good trips. I remember on 2, I have no idea. I was just this naive kid, but apparently there was some behind the scenes drama. Don't even know between who and who, But I was just so naive.
Between 2 of the riders or between props dudes?
I think it was props guy riders. I really don't know. It's just I was like, part of me doesn't want to know because to me it was one of my favorite trips. It's
Like you were just toast, blind to all the drama.
Didn't care. Like I was just riding my bike, having fun, and
That's
like
awesome.
I remember like just me, Sandy, and Tag just trying to do rails all the time, and it was so good. And then Tag burned my face off with some 151.
Were you pretty close with Tag?
Fairly, like on all the trips and stuff, and they would come, and sometimes they'd come to North Carolina, just the FBM crew, and stay at my house and stuff. But
yeah.
Tag was a good dude.
I never met him, but I was always a fan of his riding and whatnot.
Solid guy.
Real big loss for the BMX world.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there's been a handful of those in the past couple years here.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough.
I guess that's something that happens when it's such a giant community worldwide, I guess people fall off. It sucks, man.
And everybody's getting older. Those heroes, those people are getting older, so obviously death's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it does suck.
He definitely left his mark.
Yeah,
And I think that's one positive you can kind of take out of it is just, even for the kids that aren't going to really know much or never get to meet him, they can still watch his sections and stuff, man. Like there's so much great content
kids should
out there.
go look up Mike Tag. Like his stuff they did. He was like a modern day cowboy. He really was.
He innovated a lot of like burly street stuff, like badass stuff. Like a lot. I appreciate stuff like that like most of his sections would hold strong today.
Yeah, he does stuff that people don't want to do. Like he have no problem double pegging down like regular brick ledges. Like he just would lean back.
Yeah. Yeah, how'd you end up never riding for FBM when you're always so tight with those guys?
Steve doesn't really like me.
Okay.
He just pretends he does.
Okay.
But
I get the same treatment with Steve.
It's I don't know. Just never have. I kind of like it. I like that it's me and Steve are just friends. We've been friends for so long. It's crazy. Like he only lives 2.5 hours from me, and he'll go see his parents in Wilmington and stop by and just stay the night, and we'll go have dinner and stuff. But it's kind of good. Like I don't think I want that relationship. I like our friendship. I'd rather not.
Well, you're too old now anyway.
That's true. Nobody wants me.
Not even Crandall. Not even the guy that lives in his bus.
Yeah. His bus is awesome, though.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, it's a good setup.
I need to get out there one of the next times I'm out your way, cruise up his way or something.
We'll just go down there. It'll be good.
Yeah, man. I haven't been... since he's been there. I don't think I've been to Virginia since Crandall lived there.
Oh, yeah. You definitely need to go to one of his events, for sure.
Man, I just need to try to keep track of them. I complain about... Not necessarily complain to have such a busy schedule, but it's like, that's the kind of shit my schedule should be busy with.
Yeah,
going to cool stuff like that.
Those are really cool. Those are things that would be really cool covered.
Did you go to all of them?
No, I only been to a couple of them.
Okay. I know Homan's the overall champion.
Yeah.
He's very, very proud of that.
Yep.
He also won Backyard Jam 2004.
Now, when you're talking about amateur stuff, the things that him and Kaczynski were doing were pretty good too. The amateur stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Those were cool.
That's a cool setup there.
What do you think of the Recon Tour when that was around?
I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it was.
Are you trying to find a nice way to say Rocky behind the scenes?
Maybe.
I kind of thought that's what you were going to say.
Yeah, it was cool. I thought the organization could have been done better.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a cool concept. I just think it could have been pulled off a bit better. But
yeah,
But they tried something though. So I can't knock that.
I don't think it's a closed door either.
I hope not.
I think it could happen again.
I think that's a good bridge. To like.
Monster's one of those brands that, love them or hate them, they do their fair share of cool shit in BMX.
No,
too,
they
like
really
that.
do. No, I didn't even think it was a Monster thing that I was.
No, I totally agree.
That
was good. They kind of signed it off, but
yeah,
I know you guys sponsored that too, right?
We did something with it, like the last year that they did something. Yes, we did.
Hey, I kind of forgot to bring it up. I haven't really seen you since the Hell Track thing. How was that?
That was awesome.
So, what was the purpose? I thought it was going to be like a big event with a bunch of people. Then it was kind of just a bunch of weird old guys like yourself.
Right.
Was it for a video? What was it for?
No. It was an event that like that place Texplex.
Yeah.
They wanted to put it on. Joe and Casey Preisel.
Yeah, Joe's awesome.
They're the ones that it was their brainchild to put it on.
Okay.
And they put a lot of work and went into it, and it was just, I think the biggest downfall was people weren't sure. They're like, nobody's really going to build Hell Track. Who's going to really build Hell Track? But they did it, and it was awesome. Like there was there was a lot of people on Saturday. Like, it was just like, I mean, that's the day that people could get off and go. But they're overall in the weekend, that place is huge, so it didn't look like there was tons. But
Okay.
But there were a lot of people, and they actually did a race, and it was pretty sick.
Who won?
Was it Dylan Stark?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And he won cheating just like Crew Jones did.
Oh, that's so cool.
By doing a backflip. He backflipped in between, it was Barry Nobles and Greg Illenworth.
Those are some hardcore dudes to beat.
He backflipped, and again, you can't see my hands, but I'm using hand motions because it was so awesome. But he went right in between those two dudes, and then he did this crazy transfer line.
He's a talented dude, man.
It was good. I mean, that race, I haven't gotten so excited about like a race in a long time.
Did you ride the track?
I got knocked out the first day.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Doing what?
Rolling in.
Dude, that rolling looks so scary.
Well, the rolling was fine, but I was treating it like a vert ramp, and I was like, I'm going to just pump at the bottom. And you don't pump, you keep your arms locked because it was so tight. And then I just got real squirrely, and just right before the first lip, I washed out and hit my head. And
you in a full face?
No, I had my
like half cut.
Yeah. Or not half cut. It's got the earpieces. What's that?
Yeah. I don't know what the term is, but it's bigger than a standard helmet, but it's not.
Yeah,
a full face.
yeah. I mean, but I just hit the top and just took a little nap. And
how long were you out for?
A couple seconds.
Not a huge deal.
No,
you're fine.
No. Yeah.
You guys brought Greg out to that then, right?
Greg and Josh Holt.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
man.
Yeah, and it was good. It was good, like seeing, and we had full gears, like we all looked like Bart Taylor. It was fun, man. I seriously went into it a little skeptical. I was like, just like everybody else, but they pulled it off, and they did a great job.
So it was more their event than a Mongoose event.
Yes, it was 100%. Okay. This was Casey and Joe. This was they killed that event.
Joe's really good at.
They did a really great job.
Things.
Yeah.
What's kind of cool is a dude started talking to me at Interbike like 2 years ago. I think kind of an older dude, and it wasn't Joe. I know Joe, but it was like a dude who I think owns the Tex Place or something like that. And he was like, "We're recreating Hell Track," and it's like, yeah, this is one of the random bullshit things I'm going to hear about at Interbike this year. You know what I mean? There's always a couple.
I think that was downfall. Like if they do it again next year, I bet you more people will go just because they're like, oh, we can actually ride it. Anybody could ride it. That's the cool thing.
And it stays, right? It's there.
I'm not sure about that, but it's. They need to do another one, and just so that people know that this really happened, and now people are like, crap, I should have gone last year.
Was Chad Osborne there? I know it's kind of local-ish to him.
From
Kink Rider? Kink Pro?
I don't remember if he was there or not.
I guess wrapping things up here, you have to answer the question everybody answers, and that's, who is your favorite rider of all time?
Oh, my God. Who was just telling me that when they were asked that, they were like, they were blown away.
They were like, Leigh.
No. Dave Mirra.
Yeah?
Just straight up. I think he made bike riding look good. He did some of the gnarliest stuff, and just, yeah.
How is the Mongoose Bikes team going to feel about hearing that?
And Kevin Peraza and Greg Illenworth and Ben Wallace, Pat Casey, and Paul Ryan, Nikita Tuguro.
So Dave Mirra is your favorite.
Yeah. Dave Mirra, but then I'm going to... Him and Dave Asado, like those guys, there's. Well, no, if I have to say favorite, I don't want to be the dude that says and it's Mirra.
Yeah, that's fair. But I also like Dave Asado a lot.
Yeah, I like Dave Asado. He's my favorite Canadian rider.
That's fair. Who is your favorite? Me.
Probably like the 2 beer Kyle.
He doesn't last long.
Yeah, no, you don't have him for very long, but he's my favorite Kyle.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's good.
What's next on your agenda?
Go X Games. We're going to X Games. Kevin, Pat, and Ben are all in X Games, and Nikita's over there doing the little girl the
little girls demo.
Doing the women's demo.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're
home for a little bit. Yep.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Leigh, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Always appreciate your contributions to the BMX world and the fact that you are nice to me sometimes.
Yeah, I try to be nice. I love BMX, and I try to be nice to you.
Most people don't try to be nice to me, and you're a hero among men.
They don't know what they're missing.
I agree with you. All right. Anything? Any final thoughts?
Nope. Love it. Love BMX. Let's do it.
Let's go drink beer. More beer. All right. That does it for this week. Be sure to follow Leigh Ramsdell on Instagram at Leigh Ramsdell, LEIGHRAMSDELL. Bonus thank you to Leigh for buying me dinner and a few beers after we recorded this. Leigh, you are a wonderful man. And until next week, just remember, it doesn't count if you don't pull the rollback. Thanks for listening. Let's party.